Well, we're joined now by Sergei Markov, who is a former spokesperson of the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He joins us now from Moscow. Mr. Markov, thank you for joining us. We've heard in the last 24 hours or so the Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov praising President Trump for his role in the Ukraine peace effort. He says he is the only Western leader who shows an understanding of the reasons that made war in Ukraine inevitable. And I'm just wondering, as a Russian and someone who's close to President Putin, does it feel to you like President Trump is more on Russia's side than on Ukraine's side?
Of course not. You know, same time, Sergei Lavrov told that Donald Trump didn't take out anti-Russian sanctions, and even he added anti-Russian sanctions. The sanction against the biggest Russian oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil. Also, under the leadership of the Donald Trump, with his presidency, you know, almost during the year, United States giving so-called intelligence information to Ukrainian army. It's not intelligence information. It's direct targeting of the rocket missiles and drones to the Russian cities and Russian position of the Russian army. Ukraine has no satellite group. And satellite group which making targeting of the Ukrainian rocket missiles, the drones, they are American, belong to American army. And the chief of this American army is American President Donald Trump. That's why, of course, absolutely sure Donald Trump is against Russia. He's taking part in the war against Russia. And he's on the Ukrainian side. But same time, Donald Trump understands that Ukraine is losing the war. And also, Donald Trump has very clear demand from American people to stop any possibility of the nuclear war between Russia and America, because in such nuclear war, all Americans will be killed by Russian nuclear rocket missiles. And Donald Trump is trying to give response to this demand of American people, and he tried to avoid direct confrontation between Russia and America. Same time, he understands very well that to give money to Vladimir Zelenskyy is just losing of money, because all these 3 years shows that Ukrainian army has no chance, even with great Western support, to crush Russian army, and also because leaders of Ukrainian government, they are corrupted, very corrupted politicians. In fact, they are criminals. And it means that Zelenskyy will steal a lot of American army, and then the Ukrainian army will be not able to crush Russian army. So that's why Donald Trump wants to stop this anti-Russian project, which he is one of the leader of. And for the stopping this project, he come with idea of ceasefire to Vladimir Putin. And Vladimir Putin told him, I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, we already tried to ceasefire. It's called Minsk I and Minsk II agreement. Please go and see what was this fire come to. Leaders of France and Germany told, we just use this ceasefire for making tricks with Russia and just to giving more weaponry to Ukrainian army and making more, how to say, anti-Russian change of the Ukrainian political system, which we call terror against, and in fact it was terror. And we don't want to repeat this ceasefire. What if you really want to stop this war? You should not ask to have again ceasefire, which come to the big war again. But you should talk about resolution of the reasons of those war, which is means that should be neutrality of Ukraine and stopping of the violent derussification of Ukrainian society and stopping terror against Ukrainian people who believe that Ukraine and Russia should be friendly. It's very simple.
Okay, you've made lots of points there. I'm going to pick you up on a couple of them. First of all, I heard you there talking about this as a war. 4 years long, we've heard about a special military operation from the Russian side, and I just heard you there talking about a war. Has the language changed?
Of course, this is the war. Yeah. And Vladimir Putin a few times mentioned this term war, and some other officials sometimes mentioned this war. But nevertheless, Putin also many times stressed that it's not normal regular war. It's special military operation because of few reasons. First of all, it's not war between Russia and Ukraine, as a lot of people want to show. No, it's war Western coalition who use Ukrainian army as their proxy army against Russia. It's not Ukrainian people who run Ukrainian government. It's Western countries, first United States and Great Britain, and now Great Britain and European Union run Ukrainian government. And this is neo-colonial regime. It's not government of Ukrainian people. So we don't fight against Ukraine. We fight against Ukrainian army to liberate Ukrainian people from such neo-colonial regime. It's first. And secondly, for us, Ukrainians, they're Russians. 75% of them speak Russian language. Everybody knows this. Kyiv was Russian capital during 3 centuries. Ukraine was part of the Russia more than 1,000 years. That's why for us it's civil war. It means that Russian military strikes is very careful. I was giving some kind of military arithmetics, and I would say the brutality of Russian army in Ukraine less than brutality of Israel army in sector Gaza, something about in 100 times. 100 times Russian army less brutal to the civilian compared with Israeli army with Gaza. That's why it's special military operation for liberation of Ukrainian people, but not war against Ukraine. It's what Putin wants to stress.
Right. And you mentioned the help that Ukraine has been given, but do you deny that Russia's been given help by the North Koreans, the Chinese, some Iranian weaponry? I mean, you're getting help as well. Why shouldn't the Ukrainians have help?
No, it's not help. Russia has some trade with such of that. Russia buy some weaponry. Ukraine not buying weaponry. It's Europeans and British and American give this weaponry to Ukrainian army. It's a huge amount. Now, in fact, 90% of the Ukrainian army, it's not Ukrainian weaponry. It's not Ukrainian government bought. It's what it was given to them. It's first. Secondly, as already mentioned, targeting of the rocket missiles and drones and so on is taking part, in fact, in the war. It's Russian army doing itself, Ukrainian army, it's responsibility of United States and partly a little bit Great Britain. Then another important thing, it's huge economic supply. In fact, the Ukrainian government has no money to pay to own officers and soldiers. It's Great Britain and European Union pay to Ukrainian soldiers and officers and generals. So, if Ukrainian army fight against Russia by European and British and American weaponry, if they paid by Europeans and British, if this weapons target by Europe's and Great Britain, United States, why is Ukrainians war? No, Ukrainians just used by Western country, in fact, as slaves. I would say these strong words. And in fact, look, Ukrainians, for example, what they fight for? They fight for the prohibition of their native language, because native language for 75% of Ukrainian is Russian language. They fight for the prohibition and crashing of Orthodox Church, what was church of themselves, of their grandfathers, grandmothers, and other people who born them. They're crazy. No, they are under strong dictatorship. Ukrainian soldiers hate to fight because Zelenskyy criminal regime keeps their families keeps their families in their hands.
Okay.
So from our point of view, it's Russia not getting help even at all. Russia just buys this. But Ukrainian army, it's not help. It's just if 90% not from Ukraine, but from Western countries, it's not help. It's just Western war.
Okay. Something else I wanted to ask you about is we've heard President Trump making various comments that have made some of the European leaders quite nervous. First of all, we saw the US national security strategy that was published last Friday. Moscow has welcomed that and said it largely aligns with Russia's view of things. He's also called European leaders weak. What do you make of these comments?
First of all, of course, Americans should explain themselves what they mean. But how we understand? We understand that, first of all, that Donald Trump more represent not deep state. And deep state is enemy of Donald Trump. But Donald Trump represents more American people. And this attempt of Americans to reset democracy. But democracy already have been diminished in European countries, where European government and European Commission, as a government of European Union, they are under the control of the deep state, which called Euro bureaucracy. That's why Europe moved from democracy, and European governments represent not the interests of people in the European countries, but they represent interests of this deep state and partly global corporations. That's why they have absolutely different interests. And I'm very glad that America tried to recover, American people tried to recover democracy, which had been stolen by Biden and by these European leaders from the people. And that's why they are political rivals. Means European leaders who represent, first of all, deep state of Europe, and Donald Trump, who represent American people. So they are rivals. They have different interests. That's why they have a different policy. It's one. Another important thing that now, in the past, Europe was one of the two economic centers of the global world. That's why Europe, the alliance with Europe was very important for the United States. Now it's absolutely clear that Pacific Ocean area is becoming second center of economic development. That's why America more interesting to pay to spend the activity to the Pacific Ocean and to diminish its activity in European direction. That's why Donald Trump said, look, you have threat military? No military threat to Europe. You are now very economically important? Already no. Okay, that's why we will step down our troops from the United States. And if you want to defend yourself, please increase your military spending from 2% to the 5%. Okay. And also, please, we see that you have very big problems with democracy. And by the way, everybody knows that European Commission falsify election in Romania, European Commission falsify election in Moldova. And by the way, European Commission strongly support ultra-repressive neo-Nazi regime in Ukraine, which is indicator that Europe not democratic area anymore.
Okay.
And we agree with Donald Trump on this issue.
Okay. Sounds like you agree with Donald Trump on quite a few things today. I want to ask you about something else you said earlier. You said Russia is winning the war. That's something that Donald Trump has said as well. And I just want to ask you, I mean, we're 4 years into this war. You know, Russia is a much larger country with a much larger army. Yes, you may have managed to take 19-20% of the country, but even the Battle of Pokrovsk, which has lasted 18 months, it's a small city in Ukraine. Russia says it's taking control of Pokrovsk, and Ukraine says, no, you haven't. But, I mean, if you can't even take the Battle of, you can't even take a city like Pokrovsk, which isn't even a very big city, you've only managed to take 20% of the territory. I mean, do you have to admit that the Russian people have underestimated Ukraine?
No, absolutely not. We underestimate it's how strong, repressive, totalitarian, neo-Nazi, neo-colonial, terroristic regime had been created by Americans, British, and Europeans. This is what we underestimated. It's first. Secondly, every military analyst, as you may know, thought that this war, Ukrainian war, should be looks like not World War II with big moving cause, big tanks division and so on. It's like World War I, where it was a very intensive war on the small piece of land. And World War I, main goal was not to take some villages and small cities. World War I was about undermining and crashing of the army of one of the sides. You may know that Germany defeated in the moment when no foreign troops, French or British troops, was on the German territory. But German troops was on the French territory. But nevertheless, German recognized that German defeated. Why? Because German army and German government appeared to be in the crisis. It's exactly what will happen in this Ukrainian war. We can see that Ukrainian army more and more in the crisis. Look at the figures. Ukrainian army, as Zelenskyy told now, something about 550,000 soldiers and 300,000 Ukrainian soldiers. They left from the army. You can imagine. They gone. They hide away from Ukrainian government. You see a lot of video. Show this video to your audience that every day on the streets, Ukrainian military authorities taking men on the Ukrainian streets as dogs, in fact, and move them to the army. They don't want. Ukrainian men don't want to fight. And also, you see the political crisis, the high-level corruption in government of Zelenskyy. This is characteristics, main characteristic of the Russia who is winning the war. Not some villages or small cities like Pokrovsk, but crashing of Ukrainian army, crashing of the Zelenskyy repressive regime. It was the ending of the war.
Just very, very briefly, Mr. Markov, because we've got 30 seconds left. I just want to ask you very quickly, the European Union's got 210 billion euros of frozen Russian assets. And according to the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, she sees a pathway for legally using that money to support Ukraine. How will Russia react if Europe uses Russia's frozen finances in this way?
it's stupidity of Europeans. It's criminal. It's crime, of course. All of these European leaders should be in the prison because of this stealing of the Russian army. But it also is stupidity because, first of all, Russia will take some of the frozen European businesses which on the Russian territory. As I understand, it's something about the same amount of money. But also, Russia will go to the court and Russia will say, everybody, look, Europe is not a safe place for every government. And as I know, Saudi Arabia, China, United Arab Emirates, and other countries are going to take a lot of billions from Eurozones if European Commission will steal Russian currency reserve.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your brief answer. Sergei Markov, former spokesperson for the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Thank you for your time, sir.